What's up, guys? Welcome to the Lost Ark Waiting Room. This is the first episode of this podcast where we wait for Lost Ark. This is Aiyulol, and today I have two of my long-term gaming pals, my old guildies from Final Fantasy. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Hey everybody, I'm Signum. As Ayu said, my MMO cred is mostly Final Fantasy XIV rating. Centennia turned 5 when that actually mattered, and some MapleStory and Ragnarok Online before that. Otherwise, I've played CS 1.6 and TF2 competitively, and nowadays I spend most of my time playing Path of Path of Exile. Looking forward to dunking on some scrubs in Lost Ark PvP.
What's up, everybody? I'm Reinforce. I'm mostly a variety gamer. Just top 3 games I've spent the most time on are Dota, Dota 2, Path of Exile, and Guild Wars. That's the first one. MMO-wise, mostly played Final Fantasy XIV and got all the way to Alexander. Other than that, your standard MapleStory and RO.
We actually have MapleStory players in the chat, everyone. We're all old AF. So this podcast is called Lost Ark Waiting Room, and just like all of you guys, we are waiting for Lost Ark to come out. Why don't we go over some Lost Ark news to start? If you are not on Twitter and you don't obsessively refresh the Lost Ark Twitter page like I do, there's a post that they posted on July 20th, and they said, "We are aware that it has been a rather long wait and appreciate your patience dearly, but here's the important part. Lost Ark will release in fall 2021 according to schedule." So if you're worried that Lost Ark is delayed, it's not. What do you guys think? Signum. Can we trust Amazon?
No, they're all in on what's the other game that they're producing called?
New World.
New World, right. So maybe they wait for that to crash and burn before actually giving a shit about Lost Ark. In reality, I mean, they probably have a schedule set in their mind. I'm sure they got a lot of good data off of alpha and beta. There were some streamers that I saw that were calling it starting in July, but I always thought that it was going to be like mid-August to early September, something like that. So in my mind, nah, they're not delayed.
That was a debate. Well, they also posted that they've gotten a lot of feedback since the alpha, and it takes time to go over everything and make sure there are no problems. Reinforce, you're like a hardcore alpha/beta, like you never play them, right?
I don't play the alphas generally. I'll play a beta.
I played the alpha, and there was a lot of stuff that was just completely scuffed. One of the main ones, I don't know, I think I can probably talk about it now, but one of the main ones is the voiceover. The subtitles didn't match at all.
And there were some straight up like missing VO, right?
Yeah. Some of the voiceovers weren't even there. And like there was a lot of UI elements where they translated to English, and because English words are so much longer than Korean words, the words would just spill over out of the UI element onto the screen. So I guess they're working on polishing it up, making it not look like a cheap port.
Yeah, and that's not too surprising because localization is usually the last thing to be done. And you contract it out to teams in the other countries that you want it to be localized in.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's important to remember here is that like Lost Ark has been out for almost a decade in Korea. So the alpha, it didn't really have that much technical issues, right? I only played for like 2 days, but graphically or real bug wise, I didn't really notice anything.
Yeah, I think it's all just localization stuff. I'm honestly kind of glad they're taking so long because, first of all, they took long enough that my new computer arrived, so that's kind of a win for me.
Your second new computer and the one that actually worked.
All right, let's not talk about that.
Too traumatic.
Yeah, and second of all, it's good because I was worried that like if the game launched with those glaring errors, it wouldn't look good. People are already looking for a reason to hate this game, and like if you have bad translations, if it looks cheap, it's it's not gonna have a good launch. But speaking of launch, why don't we go big brain? Why don't we go deep and analyze when we think the beta or the game will launch? So I have a bunch of dates with me. I actually had to Google when fall was.
Give us the critical information. When is fall?
We all know it's coming out fall 2021, but I actually had no idea when fall was. So it's actually September 22nd to December, whatever, like almost Christmas, which is weird. Am I crazy? Because that's what Google tells me.
Boom, critical information. No, that sounds about right.
Fall goes until December. That's right.
Well, winter starts with the winter solstice, right? Which is, yeah, it's in December.
Holy shit! I've been living my life wrong the whole time. So it has to come out anytime from the end of September to December. But let's go like even more five head and analyze when all the other games are coming out. So PoE 3.15 is out. I'm like level 40. You guys are going balls deep. That runs until when?
Started on the 23rd. Usually it lasts 3 months, so you're looking somewhere mid to late October.
So mid to late October, but the new league starts like right after that, right? So end of October. And do you know when the new Diablo comes out, Reinforce?
I actually have not looked it up. Not really paying attention much to Blizzard news lately.
Aren't they like getting sued out the ass?
Yeah. Being sued for some very, very disparaging things.
Is it time to buy Blizzard stock? Okay. Oh, December. Okay. Diablo 2 Remastered comes out September 23rd.
And you said fall is September 22nd?
Yes.
Go big dick, launch exactly on the first day of fall, September 22nd, and take Diablo head on.
But would you want to, would if I was Amazon, I wouldn't want to do that. Why would you? Because Diablo 2, say what you will about it, a lot of people are going to play, especially at launch. I would dodge. We're assuming that they are going to try to plan their launch optimally, and they're not just going to be like, yo, come at me.
Yeah.
I would probably dodge Diablo. But okay, so New World launch is August 31st. I'm not sure about Diablo, but I'm 80% sure that Amazon is not going to want Lost Ark because they're the same publisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't want to team kill themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not coming out anywhere near August 31st. So we also know fall is September 22nd. And there's also Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker, which comes out November 23rd.
My actual guess, I would say that they launch something like October 7th or the 14th, or whatever day in the first 2 weeks of October is like the typical launch day, which tends to be either Tuesdays or Fridays for games like this. It's spaced out enough from Diablo 2 that by 2 weeks out, I'm sure that people who are hardcore about Diablo will have settled in, and the people who are jumping on the like playing Diablo 2 as the new hotness variety streamer thing will have faded away by 2 weeks in. PoE, honestly, the leagues die within a month after release, so I don't think they have to worry about PoE as long as they're far enough before the launch of the next league. And Final Fantasy 14 is November 23rd, which is like eons away in gaming terms.
Yeah, I think it's about what I'm thinking, because your real competition is, well, as Amazon yourself with New World, but outside of that it's Final Fantasy 14. I don't think they'll care as much about Path of Exile when the new league launches, when the current league is not going to die, because they're not really competition. They're like two totally different genres. So yeah, I would say mid-start October as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Actually, thinking about it more, we have skewed perspective as PoE players, and a lot of people in the PoE community are talking about Lost Ark, but in reality, Amazon probably doesn't give a shit about us. So.
Well, it's not. Yeah, maybe, but I agree with 3 and 4. So I think it's what's your like target audience, right? Because at the end of the day, this is another point. If you're a new Lost Ark player, if you're interested in playing Lost Ark but you haven't tried it yet, it's not really like PoE or D2. It is in the fact that the camera angle is isometric and like the combat feels like very ARPG-esque, but it's an MMO at its heart, and there's a lot of grinding. It takes forever to do anything. It's about slow gear progression. So at the end of the day, if you had to dodge one game, it would be Final Fantasy, just because that's actually the same genre.
And WoW, I'm guessing.
Well, WoW is already out.
Let's be real. Their real target is the Terra players. Long live Terra.
There's Elion, which is produced by the same studio as Terra, but it's crap.
So not even on the radar.
Yeah, let's say I'm optimistic for October. As this is what you're talking about, launch, right? Not the beta.
Yeah, launch.
Yeah.
They'd probably launch the beta early September. Then I feel like that'll be after New World, and then we'll get like a week of beta. They'll reset, and then there'll be a week until the 3-day head start and the launch. The beta they could surprise us with whenever. But yeah, I like an October launch. Let's stay hopeful. So, what are you guys looking forward to about Lost Ark when it actually comes out?
Personally, I was meaning about Terra, but the combat system of Lost Ark it's the type of MMO that I like nowadays. Like, I really enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV, but tab-targeted MMOs have really kind of lost their appeal because they play almost like a rhythm game. It's just like you stand here, press these buttons in this order, and especially with all the third-party add-ons, you have timers for all of your button presses. It's like playing Osu but worse. So really the combat of Lost Ark is the core of what I'm looking forward to. And by extension of that, raiding and PvP is what it really is the meat of the game to me. The story, I'm going to play through on beta and probably either watch all the cutscenes or plow through to level 50 and then use the in-game like replay feature to get the story. But it's the combat that is really the draw of this game for me.
Yeah, I think I'm about the same for me, except I tend to focus more on the story. Combat is definitely number one for me. But haven't not played the alpha at all. Story is what intrigues me because, I mean, for me the benchmark is Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy notoriously has great story.
I think you're setting yourself up for a bit of a disappointment if you're going to compare Lost Ark's story to Final Fantasy XIV.
I mean, I can temper it.
For those of you who haven't played the story, which is most people, it's actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. If you understand the story, you'll have a lot more enjoyment when playing some of the later content. For me, I like the combat. Obviously, the combat is probably the biggest draw of the game for I'd say 90% of people. But I've been playing on the Korean server. I'm kind of just looking forward to being able to progress my character on like my home server. You know, like I play on KR for a long time, but it doesn't feel the same. You know, when you play with 200 ping, it doesn't feel like my character.
With 200 ping, do you get blasted by things that you really shouldn't?
I can't tell if it's because I'm bad or it's because I'm lagging, but yeah, I get hit a lot.
And on that note, I guess, there was a time when you showed us a bunch of the raid videos, and wow, I haven't seen raids designed like that in any other game. It's the amount of mechanics and little tricks that they put into those things, and the care of picking a raid theme and centering the mechanics and the visuals of the raid around it is really cool, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, same. Final Fantasy did that very well in terms of visuals, but it's the same thing, just seeing the videos of the raids and the type of mechanics and how they design it's something special. I think it's because it's not tab targeted anymore. Too many MMOs nowadays are locked into that system, and it's very restrictive.
The raids in this game are insane. Like the new Legion raids, especially there's one that's coming out in KR in the Korean server soon, and that's gonna be their most ambitious raid yet. They've built up so much hype for themselves just because the last three raids have been so good. And for us, it's gonna suck. I'm not gonna lie. The North American launch is gonna suck because we're gonna be in tier 1, and all the fun stuff is basically just coming out now. So until we get there, I don't know how long it'll take. It's gonna be a little bit dry, but I think there's still fun to be had. The combat itself is so polished and so fun that even though we won't have those crazy mechanics yet, I'm still looking forward to it. What about like crafting? You guys big on crafting and life skills?
No, not really. Wait, so what exactly is the crafting system in this game? You don't craft your gear to have unique properties or anything, do you?
So there's a few things you can do. There's regular professions that we think of when we play MMOs, like fishing and mining and stuff. So you collect resources, and there's a whole system where you build a stronghold, and you have to research different things. It's like playing a whole RTS strategy game, and there you can research recipes and you can craft healing potions and battle items and stuff, which you can sell or use. For gear though, there is crafting, but it's not really like customizing your gear. It's more of like you get something, you get a drop from a dungeon and then you craft a set out of it. It's not like very deep in terms of crafting gear, I would say.
And gear in this game, it's not varied, right? Like there is a couple or maybe even just one like set of gear that everybody runs, and then the variance is mostly in skill builds.
No. So once you get to raids, there are lots of different sets you can craft, and they have different set bonuses. Most of it, though, yeah, you have your set of your loadout of gear that you start out with, and you just keep upgrading it until you get to the next level of gear or the next tier, and then you transfer all your upgrades over, and then you start from a lower plus value. But there's some customization. I wouldn't say it's zero, but it's not really so much of a gear, like a Path of Exile gear grinder.
Right. And you said something interesting there. So when a new tier of rating is released, you don't just toss your old gear by the wayside. You actually take that gear and bring it into the next tier of upgrades and raids.
It's like a gacha thing. So there's a system called succeeding, where when you move up a tier of gear, you feed your old set into the new set. And so if you were at a plus 12 before, it'll go down to plus 6 or something. But your item level will remain the same because the base that you're feeding it to was a higher base level. So you end up with the same item level, but obviously, let's say you're at plus 15 or something. Now you're back to plus 6 or plus 12 or whatever. And then you can upgrade your gear back up. And then when you hit plus 15 again, you're at a higher item level. So you kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again.
I see. And is it the same set of weapons, or are you feeding your old weapon into a new weapon and then going from there?
Yeah, all your gear, including the weapon, goes up like that.
Are you guys looking forward to rekindling MMO socialization? Because it's been a while since we've been in a large raid party. In Final Fantasy XIV, me and Reinforce raided in the same group while I was still playing. And some of those people I actually ended up meeting in real life alongside of Reinforce. And that was really cool. And since then, I haven't gotten that level of socialization in gaming.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not not looking forward to it. Kind of neutral for me. But yeah, same thing as you. I still keep in contact with that group, but new people, we'll see, I guess, when it happens.
You too old for that shit?
No, I'm open to it, but I'm not gung ho.
Looking for an open relationship?
Calling him out.
Yeah, of course, you know me.
So it's actually kind of interesting in Lost Ark. There is guilds. Obviously, there's a whole guild system, but it kind of feels to me, it's a little bit different. I've played a lot of MMOs. I played WoW for a decade, maybe. I played Terra. I played Final Fantasy. And in other MMOs, your guild is your life. You do everything with your guild. You raid with your guild, and pubs are kind of seen as this cesspool. You go to pubs if you want to suffer, and you don't have a guild. But in Lost Ark, it's weird, especially on the Korean server. They basically have a massive Discord, and the pickup culture, I guess you can call it, is really developed. You have guilds, but it's not the same as other MMOs where you run stuff exclusively with your guild. So I think it's interesting because in Lost Ark, you get to meet a lot of different players, and a lot of the first clear hell raids and a lot of the hardcore progression stuff isn't done by guilds. It's just basically you have friends and you meet people who are really good, and you have a lot of different players getting together for this one raid. And I think it works in Lost Ark because every character has their own raid lockout. So you end up having to play with a lot of different people because let's say you have 5 alts and your guildmates only have 1, with your other 4 alts still have to raid. So you end up having to pick up groups.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. But I think sounds like it's more like a culture of Discord and Reddit and things like that, where you can online post looking for group, right? And you're not locked to just your guild.
So I have an interesting question about that. Do you think that culture came about because right now Lost Ark is only released in Asian markets, and I guess Russia if you count that. But so those markets are extremely localized, right? You like have the Japanese players playing with other Japanese players, and you have the Koreans playing with the Koreans. Whereas when it launches on North America, even though like it's NA is a massive collective. Like it spans 4 time zones and a lot of different like subcultures or whatever. So do you think that like quote unquote Western mentality will mirror the Asian servers, or do you think people will start to like cluster into guilds like they're more familiar with like WoW raiding?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure. I don't know if it'll work the same way here. Like if I had to bet, I would say no, just because like I said, we are very used to the guild and mentality. We compete against other guilds, we raid with our guilds. There's also, like you said, NA is a big place, and depending on what regions are playing together, I don't know if we'll have the same homogeneity. Homogeneousness.
We'll go with that, sure.
And I think a lot of people will end up preferring to run with your guilds, but like I said, you have to do a lot of content in Lost Ark. So I think there's, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pug some stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how the pickup culture develops. Personally, I like playing with other people. So
I have a related question. So Eastern Asian culture is generally more respectful, at least for Japanese servers. I don't know if the Korean servers are like this, but I don't think that those servers will have the level of potential toxicity that NA is about to have unleashed on them. Like I've been in guilds where fights break out and people are called shitters and kicked out and whatnot. Is that a thing on the Korean server? Like, do people get mad at their raids for not performing?
I wouldn't say it doesn't exist at all, but my experience has been pretty positive. Like, you might get called out if you don't skip cutscenes or something, but that's the kind of the worst thing I've seen. In general, yeah, we've all experienced NA Dota. If you play League of Legends at any level, NA is kind of famous for being toxic. So that's kind of why I wouldn't hold my hopes up for like this really let's all hold hands and do pugs culture. But I think that Lost Ark systems are designed in a way that it kind of in a way makes you socialize. There's so many things that you have to learn about this game. It's really complex. There's a lot of complex things in systems, and it reminds me of the older style games where you have to find hidden quests. You gotta like click on this one rock in this one place. There's a lot of like these collectibles and hidden things that encourage you to ask other people like, hey, how do I do this thing? Where do I get this song? Where do I have to go to get this item? And yeah, you can just Google it, right? But they try, at least. The systems are designed in a way that they make you want to do pubs. It's very easy. There's a party finder, and they want you to socialize. Whether or not people do, like in the alpha, people are just talking about pay to win and area chat. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. It could happen. It's a possibility.
Anything could happen. The possibilities are endless.
Anything can work.
If I had to make a prediction, I think there's a good chance it'll be close, maybe not exact. I think if I'm going to nail it down, I think what will actually happen is the official or whatever unofficial but large Lost Ark Discord group will probably set up rooms, LFGs, and those Discords, just from playing different games and joining those Discord rooms, are usually pretty well moderated. So if you want to avoid the toxicity and you're kind of forced to not raid with your guild, then I can see a lot of people jumping onto Discord and doing that. And again, if they're well moderated, I don't think it'll be some like cesspool of NA toxic players that we came to grow up with. So I think it'll be close, but maybe not exactly the same as what you experienced in Korea.
We'll have to see what Amazon does with it. Like, the Discord has potential. The Korean Discord is amazing. I haven't seen anything like it. So they have tons of rooms and tons of channels for this kind of pickup game. And when you sign into Discord, you need to link your Discord with your actual in-game character. Like, they have a bot that does that. So it's kind of like you have like a social verification. Like if you're like a toxic player and you get flagged, you can't just make a new account and join in, you know. So it's kind of like you have that social credit.
And before Amazon makes you link your Amazon account and bans you on Twitch if you're toxic.
To be honest, I don't think we'll have. I'll be surprised if we get a similar implementation. I think NA has traditionally just been like, do what you want. You know, we're not gonna like try to establish this whole system and try to get you guys to hold hands. I don't think I've ever seen an NA game that does that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think if anything like that does happen, it'll be community driven.
Be the change you want to see. So what class are you guys planning to roll? I'm a bard main. I've already made like 4 bards, so that's I'm set. What about you, Signum?
I'm gonna be playing Gunslinger most likely. So yeah, Gunslinger really stood out to me. There was this post on Reddit that was like a primer of like these are the character archetypes and how they play, and the second I saw it, my eyes like popped open, zoomed in, and it was like Gunslinger, highly mobile, and I was like, "That's it. That's my class right there." More than anything, in any game, I love mobility. If I can control my character, like exactly how my brain is like trying to, then that's the class to me. I hate being stuck in cooldowns, hate being locked in animations. If I can cancel out of anything into like a dodge or whatever, that's my class. So to my knowledge, Gunslinger seems to have the most of that. It has like 3 dodges. Its dodge roll, like spacebar dodge roll, is really low cooldown. So yep.
Don't lie, you're just picking it for the garter belt.
Yes, Gunslinger waifu.
I thought you historically played archers.
I mean, a gun's kind of like a bow.
What?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's a bow that explodes.
You know what's like a bow? A bow. Because that class actually exists in this game.
But who wants to be Hawkeye?
What do you mean? He's the best Avenger.
He's literally not the best Avenger. He's just Jeremy Renner.
Wow. Jeremy and Renner just took offense to that.
Just come at me.
What about you, Reinforce? What are you playing? You're normally like a wizard, right?
Yeah, I pretty much snap picked summoner since there's no like true magic dealer AoE explosion character.
Or is there?
There could be.
Do you think sorceress is gonna be one of our? So to recap, we have 14 classes as of alpha. They said that they're going to add a 15th class for beta and launch. And recently they also tweeted that they might add a 16th class either at launch or very soon after. So we have a chance to get Sorceress. That's not what some people are speculating. What do you guys think? If Sorceress comes out, would you play it?
Yeah, me? Yeah, for sure. That's snap pick for me.
I think Destroyer is going to be the 15th one that we get. Wasn't it like one of the first ones on KR?
Oh, so I actually saw, yeah, it was, but I actually saw some news that Destroyer and Arcana are both out.
Oh.
They said that they're working on some changes. Destroyer, especially in the Korean server right now, Destroyer is in a very kind of weird place, and it's one of the classes that everyone's predicting will get reworked soon. So I think that they don't really want to release Destroyer just to rework it soon after. Arcana, I'm not sure what happened, but people were saying it's because the mage trailer, the trailer for the mage class came out recently, and Arcana was not in it. They only showed Bard and Summoner, so people were kind of saying like, okay, so we're not getting Arcana, and I think they tweeted something like, oh yeah, those two we're working on them. So we can kind of safely rule out Destroyer and Arcana. Striker is probably going to be the 15th class. It was just announced on Reddit. Not officially, but people are speculating that the last class will be Striker because this picture for Striker showed up in the banner for the Founders Pack, and then also a dev on Steam kind of teased in writing. He replied to someone who was saying, there's no way they would tease the Striker like that. And then he said, well, it's a teaser, Striker. There you go. So it's kind of like people are saying it's confirmed, it's more or less confirmed. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's pretty much confirmed, right? They're not going to put a class in their official promo and in the Platinum Avatar pack and not release it. That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't see a reason not to believe it.
It's interesting that they chose to go with Striker though. So Striker is the male version of the Battlemaster, which is the female class. So do you think they're trying to appease the people who might be angry about the gender lock by saying, "Oh, we have two classes that are gender lock free"?
I don't know. I don't think so, because most people would care, based on what I see on the forums, most people would care more in the reverse direction, because everybody's like, oh, I want to play my gunslinger waifu, etc., etc. I think most people would rather, or would care more if they were forced to play a male character than a female character, so it would seem. But maybe it's in the interest of fairness.
If you go down that route, I don't think there's an argument either way, because like player base nowadays is almost 50-50. Male female, so I don't think that argument holds that people want the female class, but at the same time I don't think it's just to appease the male versus female.
Oh, that's a big take you just dropped. Where is this statistically accurate? Are there numbers to back this up?
Yeah, the gamer, I mean, I don't know about Lost Ark, but gamers in general, it's pretty even, male female across the board now.
Yeah, I would agree that, but I mean, I think the demographic of this type of game will tend more towards male. Although there are a lot of Korean Lost Ark streamers, female Lost Ark streamers. So.
We all know there are no girls on the internet.
Of course.
Okay, well, our argument is moot now.
I don't know though. I feel like there are a lot of people I saw who were saying, I want to play as a male character and it sucks that there's no male version of these characters. I saw people saying that they were bummed about there not being a male bard of all classes. Like that's super weird to me.
Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that and I'm thinking about it, I have met MMO players who kind of like self-insert themselves into their character, and if it's the wrong gender, they don't like that. And then on the flip side, there are the people who are like, well, if I'm going to play, if I'm going to look at a character for tens and tens of hours, hundreds of hours, or whatever, I would want it to be cute or sexy or whatever. And those people tend to play girls more than guys, if they are guys.
Yeah, and I think that plays more towards my earlier point, why I don't think it's a gender thing, like trying to balance the characters, because as you have people like us who want to play a female character, at the same time there are men who want to play male characters exactly for the reason you said, is just like a self-insert or for immersion purposes. Like, especially with a very customizable game like Lost Ark, some people probably, when it gets to the face changes and stuff, they'll probably try to put themselves in the game. I still don't think it's to appease the fan base that says, oh, I want a male, or oh, I want a female version of the class. I don't think that's what they base their decision on.
Hey, some people like the caca.
True. Nothing wrong with that. So do you think it's more of a case of Striker looks really cool to like as a class? Flashy? Is it a flashy class?
I can't think of any reason other than the gender lock, to be honest, because if we're arguing from a coverage standpoint, it makes no sense for them to put in Striker because we have Battlemaster. Like, they are different, but in the same way that Devil Hunter or whatever it's called, Deadeye and Gunslinger are they're functionally the same class. Their identity skill is the same. So when there's so many different classes that have different playstyles coming that are not released yet, it makes no sense for them to put in Striker if they were caring about coverage. So I really think it's a gender lock thing.
But is it a thing in the Korean servers or the Korean version of the game where they're trying to maintain equality? Because it doesn't look like they are to me. And if they start going down this rabbit hole, then they're going to have to make like 18 new classes or whatever.
You mean in terms of gender?
Yeah.
So the director did say that they were working on eventually releasing all the genders for all the classes, but of course they are kind of pigeonholed into doing it the way that they're doing right now, which is they're not just reskins, but they're new classes. So yeah, they do have to make 15 more classes or like of all the different genders.
So they do have to eventually make it. Then I guess this makes a little more sense to me then, but it's Why it's Striker, I have no idea. I mean, if I feel like they could have picked any other class if that's the case.
Well, we're talking about the release for us, right? So out of Striker, Lancemaster, Destroyer, Arcana, Reaper, Scouter, and maybe Sorceress, all of the other classes kind of fill a niche that isn't really there, right? Like there are no other classes like Lancemaster, Arcana, Reaper. You can argue that the Assassins kind of like the same, but I mean, Reaper is Reaper. Scouter is basically Iron Man. And so all of those classes are really unique, but they're releasing Striker, which we have Battlemaster. So I don't know. I would have to bet that it's because of gender lock and because they want to give people who care about gender lock one less thing to complain about. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see it being that after you presented that argument, but maybe it's just simply that they have enough hype built around the launch that they would rather keep the hype of those new and exciting other classes for future releases and, you know, keep the like content drip feed going rather than like releasing Striker later on and people are like, "Oh, it's just a gender swap."
Yeah, that's the other thing that I was thinking. They're just sandbagging content.
Yeah, listening to the you two talk about it, I think, I can be convinced. It makes sense to me now, especially thinking about back to how they're doing the skin color changes for the NA launch. I think maybe they're even just trying to be a little more progressive.
PC in my video games, Sag.
Representation matters.
Yep. I don't want to get canceled, so let's move on to the next thing. How hard are you guys going to go on this game anyway, like spending-wise?
I haven't really taken a look at the cosmetics yet. Generally, with these types of games where the main moneymaker is MTX/cosmetics, I usually just find one set that I really, really like and ride with it for the entire time, unless something truly amazing comes along. In terms of supporter packs, I'm going to go with whatever the lowest tier is because the in-game items don't really seem like they move the needle in terms of character power. So I don't know. I don't even know if you want to call that like dolphin territory to borrow a term from mobile gaming. But I will pick up at least one cosmetic set, however much that costs. So
yeah, for me, I'm probably sticking with free to play. I mean, that's generally been my MO with most games. Just spend as little as possible. But in this case, Amazon's publishing it, and I don't know. I'm not funding Jeff Bezos' second 10-minute vacation into the stratosphere. He's got enough money to do that 1,000 times over.
He says, as being the only one of us that has Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Don't you want to see his second, more improved dick rocket?
I mean, if that rocket gets stuck in space and I paid for it, then sure.
Didn't the guy who was supposed to fly with him like bitch out last minute? He was like, "Oh, I gotta like return some tapes or something."
my Blockbuster DVDs are overdue.
Yeah. No, seriously though, he didn't go, right?
I did hear about that, but I can't remember if that was with the Bezos flight or if that was with the Branson flight, because those happened within a week of each other, right?
Oh, okay.
Personally, so back on topic, I think I'm gonna do like I think I will do a free to play challenge. I normally spend a decent amount of money like on cosmetics and stuff too, but there's so many people that kind of have a bad opinion about the spending in this game. So I want to try to do completely as free to play as possible, just to make content and give people who don't want to spend a kind of realistic view of what it's like. It's not totally free to play. Like I have because my guild gifted me one of the starter packs, but I'll just delete all the items and I'll just play the head start. And the good news is that if you want to free to play in this game, especially like you Reinforce, you can buy all of the cash shop items for gold, like in-game gold, because people that buy the cash shop stuff can also sell it on the auction house. Like on the Korean server, all the costumes and stuff are on the auction house for gold.
I mean, at that point, it just depends on how inflated the currency gets, right? Like if you can sell it for gold, but what if it costs too much for a free-to-play player? But then again, this is just speculation. We don't know how the economy will play out.
So we're getting into it. The elephant in the room is Lost Ark P2W.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. So I think most people here, if you are getting into Lost Ark and you've just found this game, you're like, wow, this looks sick, and then you go on Reddit or you like watch a YouTube video, and then you'll probably hear this opinion like, oh, Lost Ark's pay to win, don't play this shit. And most likely you haven't played the game yet, so you don't know what to feel. Nobody likes hearing the word pay to win, let's be honest, but I think it's kind of hard to define pay to win, don't you think? Like, what do you define pay to win as?
So yeah, that's the real sticking point of the arguments that I'm seeing flung around. There are the like free to play purists, or maybe they're not even free to play, maybe they are spending, but the purists who define pay to win as if you can spend money to get any tangible increase in power over somebody who doesn't spend money, then no matter what the end result of that increase in power is, and no matter how small, they just snap and they're like, that's it. The game is free to play. And I think that's giving the game...
You mean pay to win?
Or, sorry, pay to win. I think that's a huge disservice to like how Lost Ark built its systems from my understanding. Because yes, you can pay a lot of money, from what I understand, like literally thousands of dollars, to get a max upgraded weapon, but having that weapon in Lost Ark doesn't trivialize the game. Skill will trump all in this game. Like, from what I've seen, it's like a 10 to 15% power bump in raids, and yeah, that is significant. But then I think this is a recent development. The absolute like top end raids where people do them to get the special titles that are basically the bragging rights of the game, those are gear normalized, and PvP is gear normalized. So the things that hardcore players will actually care about, to me, seem completely free from the pay to win environment, I guess you would call it.
I guess from this, or building on this, then the only wiggle room that you can argue it is pay to win is if somehow paying real life dollars could grant you access to content faster than others. Because one of the traditions for MMOs is to be server first or world first.
Well, I'll argue against it just to have a different opinion, regardless of my actual opinion. So that's absolutely not true. Like, you can absolutely pay real life money to progress faster, but in this game, it isn't really like other MMOs. Like, for example, I played a shit ton of World of Warcraft, where when a new raid come out, all the best gear came from the new raid, and I think that's the case for like every MMO, right? But in Lost Ark, when a new raid comes out, you don't replace all of your old gear, and like all the new best in stock gear comes from that new raid. You do the new raid and you use the materials you get from that raid to upgrade the gear you already have. So it isn't really like you're racing to get the new gear, because normally when a new raid comes out in a traditional MMO, you race to get the new gear so you can progress through the raid faster, which gives you better gear. And it's kind of like a snowball effect. But in Lost Ark, everyone's cucked by the same RNG. And you can absolutely pay real life money to progress faster than someone who doesn't pay. But I think the reason that, especially in the Korean server, that it isn't a huge problem is because the value you get for spending money is just so bad. Like, you have to spend thousands of dollars to get your weapon to plus 25, which is like the max level. And it's for the benefit that is, even if we double it and we say it's 50% more, the hardest content is equalized. So you can go ahead and you can stomp a normal or even a hard mode raid, but you don't get anything for first clears for the stuff that's coming out now. So nowadays, it's like, yeah, you get a nice glow on your weapon, and there definitely will be whales who do that. But for the majority of players, I think it's not something that you should think of as, oh, if I don't pay, I'm behind, or something that really affects you too much, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And I think the people who are worried about the pay to win sort of aspects of this game, they got to remember that there's no company in the world, no game developer in the world, who is going to balance their game around the like 0.01% whales, because then nobody would play their game. This is a huge thing that happens in mobile games. And Like, yeah, in mobile games, those are totally pay to win. You pay thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, you duplicate your SSRs, and you have a team that rolls over content. But then on the flip side, on the complete opposite side of that spectrum, you will have YouTubers, you'll have content creators who do like 3-star character challenges where they only use the characters that the game gives them for free. So it's just like, how do you want to play this game, and how much do you like want to pay to avoid playing, right? Like, because if you're paying to speed up your progression, speed up your content, like that's less of the Lost Ark journey that you're going to experience and have fun with. And for some people, being at the top and looking down at the plebs scrounging for scraps, that is the fun. But for me, I'm going to play Lost Ark to play Lost Ark, not to dunk on people who don't spend as much money as I do.
I think what you said about paying to avoid playing is probably most accurate with this. I mean, not everybody has time to play a game 12 hours a day. Some people only have an hour a day or even a couple hours a week or something like that. And I think the best use of a system like this to catch up on the hours that you cannot spend with money and still be able to do the content with the rest of your friends or guildmates that do have the time to spend and play this as if it were their daytime job.
Like me. I definitely agree. And I think what a lot of this argument derails is people try to generalize this whole argument as if it's the same for everyone. But in the end of the day, I think the way you think about even this term pay to win or the way the monetization works in this game, it really depends on what kind of player you are. So if you're a casual player, right, none of this affects you. You don't care. You're like, oh, I'm going to collect Mokoko seeds and level 10 characters to level 20 before I decide on a main, and I'm going to do all the side quests. Like none of you don't care at all about whether somebody has a plus 20 or a plus 21 weapon.
Yeah. And I think the best advice for Lost Ark, or for people who are like trying to decide whether the pay to win in Lost Ark affects them, I would say just ignore it. When the game releases, play the game, right? Just don't listen to the internet. Just play Lost Ark. If you enjoy Lost Ark, then keep playing Lost Ark. If the pay-to-win aspects of the game sour your mind so much that you're just mad on the internet playing this MMO, then quit, right? Nobody is forcing you to play this game. And some people are just going to play the game and have fun with it, and if they see that they can dress their character up as a rainbow turnip, they're going to toss Amazon $20 and live their best rainbow turnip life.
I can confirm I am a rainbow turnip in the KR server.
See, I'm already jealous.
But I also think, like, yeah, for if you're a casual player, you don't care at all about that. And then, like, I think also at the other spectrum, if you're a hardcore player and let's say you're like a mythic raider in WoW, you're like a top 100 guild, you're used to pushing for server first or whatever, you'll quickly realize that first clears in this game are not the equivalent of server first and world first in other games. First of all, world first is impossible because everything is done. We're living like 3 years behind progression content, so the world first is probably not going to be a thing for a long time, if ever. And server first, also, you don't get the prestige from it. All the prestige in this game comes from the equalized hell rates, which everyone has the same gear, doesn't matter how overgeared you are. It's all about skill. And when a new raid comes out, people struggle with the mechanics. Like, the mechanics, just like every other game, are what determines whether the raid succeeds or not. There aren't really like hard DPS checks where, okay, you have 20% less DPS, you cannot beat this boss. It's not about DPS. It's about how good you are. Like, you can't buy hands.
Don't get hit.
Yeah, you just have to get good.
And to my PvP bros out there, just go on Reddit and filter P2W out, because none of this shit matters to you. You're gonna go on your equalized PvP character and destroy noobs.
There is an argument people are saying, so world PvP and guild versus guild are not going to be equalized, but
Who the fuck cares about world PvP?
I want to say, like, guild versus guild. Some people are really like guild versus guild. I don't know. Is Guild Wars a thing? Is that what it's about? It sounds like it. I don't know. If you're like an old school Ragnarok Online player, you're talking about like guarding the Imperium room. Maybe you have this like romance about guild versus guild. But I can also tell you that it's all about strategy in guild versus guild, and it's not It's not like a battle royale where it's like, all right, everyone, this guild and that guild go into a field and you duke it out. There's a lot of like different mini games. There's a lot of different kind of game modes, and it's all about strategy and tactics. So the whales, yeah, it's nice to have a whale in your guild, but it's not gonna be what determines whether you win or lose.
It is straight up. Is guild versus guild actually good in this game? Because I have not played a guild versus guild like mode that has been good ever. I played a shit ton of War of Imperium back in RO, and I romanticized the fuck out of it. But looking back at functionally what that War of Imperium was, it was trash. It was all about just getting a sin breaker to destroy the Imperium. Like nothing mattered in that. There was no strategy. It was awful. So is guild versus guild in this game actually good?
I'll just say that if you like Guild versus Guild, if you like it, you like it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't think it's like revolutionary or anything. You just gotta try it and see if it's for you. It's also a very small part of the game. So if you're expecting it to be like this major thing, then maybe you'll be a little disappointed. Also, World PvP doesn't really exist. It isn't. I leveled. I played on WoW on a PvP server. So it was like while you were leveling, you just constantly get ganked and huge battles explode, and it was a whole part of the game. In Lost Ark, only certain islands are like PvP flagged, and you rarely ever have to go to them, so it's also a very small part of the game. I think a lot of the people who are the most upset about pay to win are like kind of like, I don't know how to describe them. I'm gonna do a hot take here. Okay, so my hot take is that the people who are most disturbed by pay to win is people who like are about medium at the game, but they kind of like think of themselves as like, oh, I want to have the ability to compete with the hardcore like 1% of the game. And so they kind of feel like, well, if you can just pay to do that, then it kind of takes away their ability to compete. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that way, but from a lot of the comments, I feel is like, if pay to win is in the game, I won't be able to compete with people who just pay.
But equalized raids would prove that false, right? Because the most challenging content is free from the pay to win landscape.
Right, exactly. So but also those are the pinnacle of content, right? Like the hell raids, equalized raids are the hardest things in Lost Ark. So if you're not good enough to do them, you won't have that equalized battlefield, right? So I guess it's like get good. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it is get good, because if you care so much about pay to win, that you're saying, oh, the whales will dominate the top ranks of this game, but the systems of the game would say otherwise. If you hate pay to win and whales, prove them wrong. Go into these hell raids with equalized gear and be better than them. There's no more satisfying feeling as a free to play or small spending player than to beat a whale, right? And if you can do that, that's your ultimate pride. So aspire to that. Don't complain about pay to win. Go on to the equalized battlefield and dunk on these people and show them that their money doesn't mean shit.
And also a well-designed raid, especially if it's a new raid coming out, gear should not matter, right? If you're going back to an old raid from 2 years ago or something, and with your brand spanking new eye level 1000 gear, yeah, you can trivialize it, sure, whatever, but if it's a brand new raid, and if it's well designed, or even half decent design, there's no reason for gear to trivialize any mechanic in that raid.
Yeah, so that's another thing where I think the equalized system is very good, because your titles and your achievements for doing the hardest content in Lost Ark can never be trivialized. Like I played WoW for more like half of my life, and there are a lot of prestige things in WoW. Like that, I think that was one thing that Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King era WoW did really well, is that there was mounts and titles that were so like really hard to get, right? So when you saw someone with that thing, you were like, damn, this guy fucks, right? And you wanted to be that guy. But the problem with that is that whenever a new expansion came out, people got so strong that eventually you could just go back and like literally solo all the hardest raids, and you could farm like Ashes of Valar, you could farm the hardest mounts, like the hardest things you could get. But in Lost Ark, because the hardest titles and the prestige is equalized, even if we're like 5 years down the road and we're in like tier 10 or whatever, you could never go back and like steamroll the content because you have to do it at this gear level.
I love that system.
Yeah, I mean, again, this goes to a well-designed raid and well-designed mechanics, right? Even if we jump back into FF14 now with like, I don't know what the eye level is now, like 250 or something, and try to do Titan normal, if you get hit, you're still dead, and people will laugh at you. So I don't know, get good.
Yeah, but I heard you can solo coil now. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can solo a lot of the raids, but some mechanics, like, you still have to move and dodge and do some of the mechanics.
Right.
You can maybe take more hits. Cool.
Right, but I think it's good that as a hardcore player, like if you really want to push for prestige in this game, your achievements are always protected because the equalized system ensures that nobody can ever trivialize that achievement, which I think is good. It's good to have.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And if you have your little +1 or +5 gear and somebody's shining with their +25 and they get hit all the time, then you get to laugh at them.
Don't stand in red circles, kids.
There's an expert a 5-head strategy where you buy like a really cheap blue weapon and you plus it to 25 and you just have it as like a swap in town. So like if someone inspects you, they're like you have like a blue +25 weapon, but if they just look at you from afar, you have like that sick level 25 glow because the glow is standardized for all like tiers. It's not like you get a different glow for a higher tier.
That's so next level.
Yeah, so if you care about EPing, just buy a cheap weapon +25. Use it as a toy.
Wow, next level strats, yes.
I think the most important thing to remember is that the people that are posting on Reddit is like what is it, like 1% of the people that actually play the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just the loudest, and Reddit is Reddit. Every subreddit for every game will have these people, and they will always the loudest, and for some reason they're always mostly wrong. So I don't know. It's same as what you two have been saying. Just ignore these people. Like if you want to play the game and you enjoy the game, then you have enjoyed the game. Why does their opinion matter to how well you enjoy the game, right?
Yeah, I think like it's important to keep in mind that all the people who are having fun playing Lost Ark are not bitching about it on Reddit. Like they're just playing the game.
Yeah.
And I can see where like the pay to win comes from. Like you can absolutely pay for an advantage in this game, but it comes down to what kind of player you are. Like for me, I've always been someone who does like progression rates. Like I compete for server firsts, and I always try to like be in that elite. So I know that where I'm gonna be spending most of my time is in equalized rates. So the pay to win stuff doesn't bother me personally, but it might not be the same for everyone. Like if someone said to me like, oh, I don't like that someone can pay to have higher gear score than me, like I can understand that. And so I think at the end of the day it comes down to what you feel about it and if you have fun playing or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I generally fall into that category as well, where I instantly analyze if a game is feasible to play, free to play, and if it isn't, not all the time. I guess it has to do with the context, but if it is pay to win, I usually don't want to play the game anymore. But at the same time, like do a little bit of research into the game, just think about it, right? Instead of just jumping to conclusions and your first knee-jerk reaction is to post how angry you are on Reddit. At least for us, I think we've come to a conclusion that it's not really pay to win. I mean, you could, but at the same time, it doesn't really affect you if you don't plan on doing it.
Yeah, I think the Reddit soundbite here that they're going to take away, or that I want them to take away, is Lost Ark pay to win? Yes, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, you can't ever. It's not a question that can be answered just in one sentence. Like at the end of the day, it really depends on you. And the takeaway is like, don't base your opinion off of a YouTube video or even what we're saying. Like just go play it, and if you don't like it, don't play. As I get older, though, I kind of enjoy that. I kind of like that the option exists, like you said, Reinforce. If you have friends who know life, but you have an actual job and you have to like support yourself and you can't know life with them, you can pay a little bit you can use your disposable income or whatever, and you can still play the game with your friends. Whereas in other MMOs, like, oh yeah, if you're behind, you're behind. Like you can never play with them, right? So I think having the option exists, and it's kind of in a good place. Like it's in a medium place where yes, you can pay to progress, but if you're really hardcore, it doesn't affect you. If you're casual, it doesn't affect you. And I guess the only people who really don't like it are people who have already made their minds up about it anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like that the system exists, because one of the worst feelings, especially in an MMO, since it's just such a very social game, is being left behind. And there are things you can't control, like most of the time. Real life stuff will get in the way. And if it gets in the way and you're starting to fall behind in gear, and it's nice if you have the disposable income, not everybody does, you can just spend a bit of it and catch up to your friends, and now you're all on the same level and playing together again, instead of hoping to spend a week and catching up to them, but they've already spent the week. But yeah, I think it's a nice system to have. Of course, it makes them money. As consumers of the game, it's almost like a quality of life thing.
We could just be overdosing on copium right now, to be honest. Also, it remains to be seen, because Amazon did say that they wanted to make it more West friendly, and they said they would be looking at some of the monetization stuff. So we might be just talking about this for no reason. Like, I'm not gonna get completely high on copium and say like Amazon is gonna fix everything. It's gonna be totally free to play friendly. Like, I don't think it will. Like, it's Amazon. They're gonna make shit tons of money from this game, but I think, yeah, just decide for yourself. As someone who's played on the Korean server for long enough, I can tell you that if you don't want to pay, you can just play more. And I think the people who complain about pay to win are kind of people who they don't want to feel pressure to pay to keep up. And if you're someone who's worried about that, you can just play more. You can get all the same stuff by playing the game more efficiently. It isn't like pay to win where that guy has a cash shop only weapon and he just one hits you with it. Everything you pay for is stuff that you can get by playing the game. They just get it faster.
That's fair.
So how much are you going to spend on the game?
How much is the bronze pack? 10 bucks?
Is it $10?
No, I don't know. I didn't look it up. I think the silver was like 25 in Canadian money. Americans need not apply. I don't know. Have they released the pricing? I would expect something like 15.
It's been out for like ages.
Didn't they rejig the prices?
No, but there's a new bronze. There's a new pack.
Isn't that only for Turkey or whatever?
No.
So do you guys know about the whole regional pricing drama?
Yeah. I was reading it about it earlier. So like people were dodging their like high local prices by going to specific regions where it was cheaper. But then everybody got banned, right? Like people who did that got banned, and they normalized prices. So like Turkey's in outrage or something. But then to compensate for that, they introduced a cheaper base pack that only has the beta head start or the launch head start and the beta access. Correct? Yes?
Yeah, but
I think they also bumped the prices for all the other packs. Yeah, I think they just made all the other packs more expensive than what it was before they added the bronze or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a disaster. Like I honestly feel like they didn't really think about this thing very well. Like this whole thing could have been avoided if they just didn't put in-game currency in the packs.
Right.
You can, but this is more of a Steam problem, because you can't expect the same game, DLC or whatever on Steam to be released in different countries and be the same converted price, because economy for each country is different, right? So if it's $30 here, $30 could probably buy you a bed or something in another country. You're not going to spend an exorbitant amount of money.
Strong analogy.
I'm trying to think of my feet here, but yeah, like the point is like the economy and the wealth is the problem. What may seem cheap to us, $30, is much more expensive in other countries. So you have to bring prices down in those places.
I think Steam has a system where you can only change your region like every certain amount of time to skirt this very.
No, but I feel for all our Turkey bros out there. Like if the game cannot be priced the same in all regions. Like it won't work, right? Because in some regions it would literally be unaffordable. right? So they have to make it cheaper. But it almost feels like, to me, they didn't think about the reason they had to do this whole thing was because they're like, oh shit, people are literally like RMTing because it's so much cheaper to buy the packs there and resell the currency. It's gonna mess up the economy right away. So it's like after that happened, they were like, oh shit, we probably shouldn't have put in-game currency. So they removed it and made the cheaper bronze pack, like the super bronze or whatever. And then they jacked up the prices of the other ones, like the ones that we had originally. So it kind of feels like they fucked up.
Wait, so do the packs still have in-game premium currency that you can like buy gold with?
So the original 3, the bronze, silver, platinum, are still the same, but they just jacked up the prices like so that it was, it's pretty much not worth it to RMT like to buy it anymore.
Oh, that's the way they went about
it. And then to it's like to Band-Aid fix it, they released the new like super bronze, which is like really cheap. It's like similar to the old pricing, except this one doesn't have the in-game currency.
Honestly, I don't think that's a bad fix. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I don't think you can put the blame on Smilegate for doing that, because again, it's not their system; it's Steam's system that caused this issue. They could have thought about it and maybe designed something around it, but again, what is that something? You still have regional players.
It's a fine fix now, but like if you think about it, it's kind of not, because all the people who bought, let's say, the platinum pack when it was cheap are like, oh yeah, I'm fucking like, this is the best thing ever. But then people who couldn't, or like people who didn't buy it yet, are basically priced out of the platinum pack now because it's just giga expensive, right? So I mean, that's kind of why I understand why people are upset. Like it feels like they just didn't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's completely valid. If you were thinking about it and then suddenly the price changed on you, then you have every right to be angry about that, especially if it's gone up.
Yeah, like a lot of people were waiting to buy the pack. For me, I wasn't gonna buy a pack with like a mount and like a pet without knowing what they look like, right? And there's an avatar too.
Yeah, I was in that same boat. So I haven't bought a pack yet. I'm gonna probably get this super cheap new bronze one. But I see what you guys are saying. Like the people who were going to spend money because the value of the premium currency was good, now no longer have that option and have to buy the premium currency at like standard rates, and they feel screwed by that. So yeah, I see what you mean, but I think from Amazon's perspective, like they saw this RMT controversy brewing, and like RMT is like a death knell of a lot of MMOs if it gets a foothold. So they basically just like set the new lower limit of that to be above the level of what RMT would be worth.
They basically just had to amputate their own arm because they fucked up. They were like, "Oh shit,
yeah.
we forgot, we didn't see this coming." Like,
yeah,
we might as well do it like while it's not that bad. But yeah, they definitely messed up.
Yeah, let's all feel bad for Amazon.
Oh no!
Pour one out for our turkey bros. I feel bad.
Is it actually Turkey, or are we just memeing with Turkey?
It's actually Turkey. Well, that's what a lot of people. That's one of the places where the regional pricing was the most serious.
Yeah. And I think time was of the essence. It's not something you can sit there and mull over what the proper solution would be, because I don't think it's a simple solution either. But this was probably the quickest thing they could have thought of that was okay enough.
Because if they let it go on any further, like I guarantee you, day one in all chat, you'd just be seeing like, go to www.buygoldforless for cheap Lost Ark gold, instant delivery, 100% satisfaction, blah, blah, blah.
But do they accept Dogecoin?
They better. That's all I have, man.
Does Elon accept Dogecoin?
All my savings is in crypto.
Oh no. I'm excited in general though. Like, yeah, they fucked up. Like, I mean, it wasn't ideal, but I think it's almost like the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you rather have gold spammers in chat? Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I think once the game launches, people will quickly forget about this.
So it finally happened. They released the pictures of the items in the Founders Pack. Did you guys get to check them out?
Yeah. They look pretty sick. Unfortunately, the gunslinger outfit is probably one of my least favorite ones. It's kind of basic. It's just a red jacket, red hat. Kind of looks like a bit like a gender swapped Dante.
So to recap, if you get the gold Founders Pack, you get one of the what I don't know what they call it. Oh, they call it the exclusive avatar, the Northern Lawmaker avatar, which is like, I don't know, it looks like something out of Wrath of the Lich King. It's like northern Arctic gear, very fur, very like Game of Thrones. And then if you get the Platinum Pack, you get that outfit, and on top of that, you get a Platinum avatar. And it's different for every class. So that's the one you were just talking about. You also get a mount, which is a Cerberus. It's like a 3-headed dog mount. And you get... Oh, the pet is for all tiers, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So the pet is a really cute cat. And you get to pick from 3 different cats. Honestly, so let's talk about what we think of the items first. And then we can go into some of the drama or the discussion that people are having about the items. So I think the cat is honestly the best thing out of the pack, personally.
Yeah, agreed. The cat is cute as fuck.
Absolutely agreed.
And I'm happy that we get that even with the bronze. So, no complaints from me. I have the bronze pack. If the avatar was like really sick, I would have been kind of upset because I'm not going to get it. So, it would have felt kind of bad. But the cat, hands down, best thing for me.
I mean, I'm upset I'm not getting the cat.
Get the cat, dude.
No. Gotta stay true to my convictions.
And so the Platinum avatar is going to be different for all 16 classes. Which one do you like out of all of them?
I think Blade looks really cool. I like the swords.
So did you see the striker? It's the Ryu.
Yeah, it's Ryu.
Just the Ryu costume from Street Fighter.
Literally just Ryu.
I think that's the most boring one.
Yes, it's definitely the most uninspired.
It was too easy. Like, it's just like a low-hanging fruit kind of deal.
The Paladin one looks like Tyrael from Diablo.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
It's just missing the wings. And Gunslinger, yeah, it kind of just looks like Cowgirl. I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, looks like Dante to me. Like a female Dante.
Or Trish.
Yeah, Trish. It kind of does look like Trish, actually.
What's Trish?
Trish is from Devil May Cry 2.
I'm unaware.
Bard's pretty cute. I'm not really into the hat, but you can hide the hat, so.
You always hide hat.
Yeah, but you paid for the whole thing. You're losing value.
Nah, screw the hat.
I don't know. It doesn't look spectacular to me. So that's kind of why I think the people who like it will like it, but personally, I'm not too upset that I didn't get the Platinum Founders Pack.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything by not having these.
What do you think about the mount, the Cerberus mount?
I think it's just okay.
Dude, I don't know. I low-key hate it. It looks so boring. Did you see the mount that Japanese got in their the Japanese server got on their founder pack?
No.
They got like a nine-tailed fox mount.
Oh.
It looks pretty sick. I think it's on Reddit somewhere. But we got some Cerberus. It doesn't even have any like particle effects. Come on, you paid $100 and you're not even giving me some particle effects?
I mean, better frame rate maybe.
Lost Ark can run on a potato. Particles in Lost Ark don't really lag you. But yeah, I don't know. Founders, if I bought the Platinum Pack, I would be low-key like disappointed right now. And I think that's why there are some people who are voicing their discontent with the pack. And I guess it's the old adage, never pre-order something,
Yep.
Never buy something before you know what it is.
Good mantra for life, especially in cases where you haven't even seen the product, right? If you're pre-ordering a game like a few months ago when Monster Hunter Rise was coming out, yeah, you know what you're probably gonna get. It's another Monster Hunter game. But in terms of DLC like this, you're gonna pre-order something blindly, then
it's worse than a pre-order though, because pre-ordering, you're just buying the game that you're gonna buy anyway, right? But this was like an extra $100 on top of that.
yeah, that makes it worse.
Yeah, and I mean, not to like giga call anybody out who did pre-order, but why would you pre-order before knowing what the cosmetics look like? Like, it's not as if after they released the cosmetics they were going to close pre-orders or anything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but can't you still cancel your pre-order now? I don't think they charge you until the game actually releases.
If that's true, then you can probably refund it. I think there may be laws, depending on which country you're in, to prevent pre-orders from sticking until you receive it.
I still think that I don't know if it depends. Maybe it depends if you bought it on Amazon or Steam, but I'm pretty sure that I don't think anyone's been charged for the pack yet, but I could be wrong. But that's not even the worst thing. So the items are items, right? Those are very subjective. You either like them or you don't. You know, the cat's awesome. You get that no matter which pack you get. So no shame there. But so the problem that people, I don't know if I should call it a problem, but the thing that people are upset about is, so there's two avatars: the Northern Lawmaker, which is for the gold and platinum, and the platinum only exclusive avatar. So the exclusive avatar is bound to one character, which makes sense because there's one for every class, right? So if you equip it on a bard, you have the bard avatar, and you obviously the bard avatar can't be used on, say, a destroyer or maybe a class that we actually have, whatever. The Northern Lawmaker one, that is what people are kind of blindsided by, because the Northern Lawmaker avatar is also going to be bound to one character.
So it's a cosmetic in the true sense that you can put it on any character.
Right, but once you do, that's it. It's on that character. So there's a dev post on Steam, and to clear up about how it works, the avatars will not automatically unlock on the first advanced class you choose. So an advanced class is not mage, but it's summoner or bard, not warrior, but it's holy knight, berserker, etc. So instead of picking which class you want, both avatars are delivered to your expedition storage, which is like your shared stash between all your characters. And then once you take it out and equip it to one character, it becomes bound to that character and it becomes the costume for that character. So if you take it out and equip it to a bard, it becomes the bard costume. If you take it out and equip it to a berserker, it becomes a berserker costume. But that's the way it works for the Northern Lawmaker costume as well, which is by default not class specific. So instead of, because people were thinking that the Northern Lawmaker avatar would be able to be shared between all the jobs of the same class. So if you have a berserker, you could also use it on your paladin. But they just basically, people just found out that it's not the case. It's only for one character.
Yeah, I think it kind of sucks. I mean, coming from something like Path of Exile, where your cosmetics are account bound, but you can put it on any character you want, kind of feels like you got cheated in this case. I can see why people are angry about this. Still, I don't think it's a nice thing to do just to make it character bound. I mean, you paid for it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the platinum avatars being single character bound makes sense, but the Lawmaker set, since it is like a skin applicable to any class, any gender, yeah, they probably should have just made it so that you could share it between your whole account, like all characters on your whole account.
The problem with this one is that these skins aren't class based, right? There is a skin for every class. They're just not giving you access to it.
Right.
Not even 3 traits, right?
Is there a precedent to an account-wide skin, though?
I think, but I don't know if we should really be comparing it to the Korean server, because this is a North American Founders Pack, right? So we should talk about it in the context of North America.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way it's a system limitation. It's not even a hot take. I'm just going to throw it out there and just say that I don't think it's a system limitation at all. If they wanted to do it, being able to trade skins, that's the default.
Right. So if it's not a system limitation, then yeah, I think it's pretty scummy that the Lawmaker avatar isn't class-wide or account-wide.
I think they just wanted to make some more money. If they didn't class lock it, every Lawmaker set would actually be 3 costumes, because you could use it on 3 different characters and trade it around or whatever. I think the problem is that people now, let's say it's untradeable. Let's assume it's untradeable. If it's untradeable, then you're kind of scared to equip it, right? Because once you equip it, that's it. What if it's your first time playing Lost Ark, let's say you make a Berserker, and then you get to level 20 and you're like, yeah, I kind of like Berserker. I wouldn't equip the skin, because who knows if I actually like the class. 6 months in, and you're like, oh, actually I don't like Berserker, and you wanna switch to Summoner, right? And then you don't have your exclusive skin that you paid a lot of money for.
Yeah, for sure. The people who are gonna get bit the worst by this is those RPG fanatics who like hoard all their elixirs until the end boss and don't end up using them at all. They're gonna sit on this avatar forever, and then finally be like, okay, I've made my decision, and they're gonna equip it to a class and quit a week later.
Or they finally decide to equip it, and then a new skin comes out, and they're like, cool. I bought this for nothing.
Well, you'll always have different skins, but I think the problem with this one is that this is the Founders Pack skin, right? So even though there are a lot of other skins that come out, they will all be available on the cash shop, and they will all be tradable, and people will sell them on the auction house. But this one is supposed to be, you had to be there to get it. Right, there's supposed to be some exclusivity, some limited time appeal to it, but making it bound means that, if you fuck up and you want to change your character, you no longer have that limited time exclusive thing. Even though you're a founder, like you're there on day 1 or day 0 of beta, well, now you don't really have anything to show for it. I think being a founders pack, they should have made it so that you could swap it around, because one, the model exists for all classes, so it's not something that they would have to worry about. And two, just the nature of it being a founders pack item.
Yeah, I totally agree. It should just be account bound but swappable between characters, because who's gonna buy 15 founders packs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. Kind of a scummy move by Amazon. It's not a Smilegate problem. This is an Amazon problem. But also, they said that the dev on Steam also confirmed that the avatars that come with the Founders Packs will only be able to be used on the 15 classes we get at launch. So if you say you want to play a Lancemaster, but Lancemaster is not out yet, you can't save the skin for when it comes out. It won't work. So it has to be a class that's available at launch.
It's good that they clarified that, but it's bad that is the case.
Yeah, I think that's pretty scummy. I mean, a small argument for that is that they don't have the groundwork done, but if you've coded the game properly, then these cosmetics should be easily swappable between models. So I don't really like that this is happening. It devalues the Founders Pack even more.
Jeff Bezos is giving us the middle finger from his penis rocket ship.
Yeah, so I don't love the way that they handled this. Like, I think it sucks. But hey, if you're free to play, you didn't buy a Founders Pack, or you brought the Bronze Pack, good for you. You don't have to worry about any of this shit.
And that's all of us. So we'll just enjoy our cats and be done with it.
Except me. I get no cat.
How can you even live without a cat, man?
I don't know.
So I maybe the cat will be tradable. Like, I don't know if there's confirmation whether or not any of these items are actually tradable, like on the auction house. Most of the ones on the Korean server are tradable. I think every skin is tradable, including pets. So if they are, then you don't have to worry. You can just buy it with gold.
That's true. Day 0 goal, level to 50, buy cat.
Yeah, screw upgrading gear. Just buy cats.
No. Don't need any of that. No island hearts, nothing. Just cat.
How successful do you see this game becoming in North America?
So the only slight trip up that I see with Lost Ark, based on watching you play and watching some Korean streamers, is that I would say that the leveling process in this game is honestly kind of bad. It's not very engaging. It's like press G and click on icons to get to level 50. You don't really engage with any of the side mechanics. If you're trying to be efficient about it, you don't engage with any of the side mechanics. You just go, press G a bunch, and you're level 50. And then from the early game raids, I have seen that it's a bit too easy. So I have this fear that people will hop off the hype train before they get to the good stuff. And some of that good stuff isn't even going to be available on launch in NA. If you go on Korean Lost Ark YouTube and watch these raids and you're like, oh, I can't wait to play that, well, you are going to have to wait. I'm like a year plus to play that. So I'm kind of scared that Lost Ark is an amazing game under the tip of the iceberg, but it might not get the chance to really show what it has to offer.
Well, speculating, but a lot of games that release on asynchronous times like this across regions tend to try their best to normalize and synchronize them again. So we may be 3 years behind, but I don't think we are going to have to wait 3 years to catch up. It's not going to be instant, but I don't think the wait will be that long. Speculating and hopeful, I guess, I should say.
But in today's landscape of like gaming, of Twitch centric, like Twitch is so important, right? If Lost Ark launches and in a month everybody is just twiddling their thumbs in town waiting for like even the smallest cookie crumbs of these raids to appear, don't you think it's just gonna die?
I think it'll still work. It won't work to the success of like WoW or Final Fantasy. But you can kind of see this model working in something like Among Us, where they release new content and people are instantly back on again. And being a free-to-play game, there's no barrier to entry or re-entry in this case, right? You could do all your content, do the latest raid, take a break, and when the new one comes out, you could just hop back on, and it could just still be as popular as before.
Mm-hmm. So I think what we're hoping for in the best case scenario here is that like Lost Ark develops this, even if it's small, this like really core player base that loves the game, and when new content is released, is willing to hype up everybody who may have left it prematurely and like try and drag them back onto the hype train.
Well, I don't think it'll get to that point. Like, I think people, well, me included, are kind of worried about the same thing. So I think that we will get a much faster release schedule than Japan or Russia had. Like, I think NA will be the fastest progressing server that has launched to date. And just because of that problem, like, they don't want to let people get bored before the real endgame fun stuff really starts, because they want the game to succeed, right? So I think we are going to have very little downtime between content, if any. So I don't know if that'll be a huge problem, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it'll be to their detriment if they don't release quickly. So I think there's a good chance it'll be a very, as you say, a fast release.
This is kind of, we'll have to, trust Amazon to do a decent job here, but I think they'll monitor. And if we get to the point where, okay, people are progressing faster than we thought, then they'll release the new content faster. Because it's not like they have to make the new content, right? Like, I'm sure they already have it ready. Like, they just have to translate it. And it's not like, well, I don't want to say it's not like it's hard to translate, because it is a lot of work, but they should be prepared. They should be able to predict, like, people will progress quickly, because it's not like a new game. Like, all the strategies are out. A lot of people that have played on other servers are going to be playing on NA and EU. So it's not like we have to figure everything out, right? Like, people are going to progress fast. So I hope they're ready.
Yeah, the realist of takes here, make sure that New World fails. Come on, everybody. Just tank New World. If you want Lost Ark to succeed, destroy it.
Does it, though?
Well, if say New World like explodes and takes off and it's the next like big thing, 200,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch, blah blah blah. Do you really think Amazon is gonna pour the kind of resources into Lost Ark, which is in this case like a direct competing product, even though it's their own?
That scenario described, literally, I can't even imagine that. Okay, like, I don't even know what you're saying. What language are you speaking?
The answer is no.
I know nothing about Lost Ark, by the way. I want New World. I know nothing about New World, by the way. I just want Lost Ark to succeed.
They're not even the same kind of game. Like, they're both MMOs, but like the style is so different. Like, New World is like a traditional Western MMO.
Yeah, but you're thinking of it from a gamer's perspective. From a business perspective, it's the same product. You're not gonna want these two to compete with each other. You want one to be on top, and you want that to be your cash cow.
Yeah, I mean, as different as they are, like, they're still going to be I think so. Anyways, they're still going to be competing for the same like time allotment of gamers, right? And if not for the types of gamers, like maybe the types of people who would play New World wouldn't play Lost Ark, and vice versa. What they definitely will be competing with is like exposure and Twitch viewership, right? So only one MMO is going to be king at a time, and right now it's Final Fantasy 14. So
I don't know. I honestly, I love Lost Ark. But I have my doubts that it's gonna be exploding and going mainstream. Like it's a very Korean MMO feeling, like at its heart, and I don't know if it has what it takes to like explode in the Western market. Like it's not made for us as much as we love. It's like the people who are listening to this podcast and the people who are planning to play Lost Ark pretty hardcore and love Lost Ark. The game is not made for everyone else. Like you are, I don't know, what is it, the 1% of people who will really enjoy this game. Like most people are probably not gonna enjoy Lost Ark. You look at, I don't know, the big others, some big streamers who are like, oh, Lost Ark's pay to win, or it's like super grindy or whatever, right? So I think Lost Ark will find its niche.
So is that what you're hoping for? You're hoping for like Lost Ark to develop a core whatever 10 to 20,000 players slash viewers that just like devour Lost Ark content and are with you along on this journey.
I enjoy playing the game, so I'm gonna play the game. But I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to do like I'm trying to temper my expectations, and I also want to be a little bit realistic because I've played enough Lost Ark to know that I really enjoy these types of games where there's like so much stuff you have to do, and you like make really incremental progression, and you're kind of like time gated and razor skated, and every time you go up a little, it's because you worked really hard for it, and it takes you a lot of time if you don't want to pay. I enjoy that kind of aspect, like that challenge of making my character stronger. But a lot of people, they just want everything like fast, right? Most MMOs these days, they don't work the same way anymore. Like, right, people don't want to have the patience to invest weeks and months into your character, but that's exactly the kind of game Lost Ark is. There's dailies where you literally have to do the same daily for 15 days or like 30 days before you unlock. It's like doing a reputation grind, right? You gotta put the time and effort in. So for the majority of I want to say like younger generation of gamers who didn't grow up with this like grindy shitstorm, like we grew up on like MapleStory and Ragnarok Online. Like we're used to that shit.
I was about to say it's come full circle. Our MapleStory and RO pasts are catching up to us.
We're used to quests being like, go out and kill like 10,000 of this one monster, right? Like, but people, that's not how games work these days. So I think that the people who really love Lost Ark will love Lost Ark, and like the combat is so good that even if you aren't a fan of like big grinds, you might love Lost Ark anyway. But I don't have this fantasy that Lost Ark is gonna blow up and be the next WoW or the next Final Fantasy. Yeah, I don't know. Like Final Fantasy was also that kind of a game, right? It was like a very Asian designed game to start. I don't know how it is anymore.
I would argue against that. I think Final Fantasy was more designed for a Western audience. I mean, it's obviously a Japanese company.
I think he's talking about before they did Realm Reborn.
That the game didn't exist.
Oh god. Sure.
14 started with 2.0.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, to be fair, Lost Ark Season 1 doesn't exist either. Like Lost Ark Season 1 is a fuck. Like it's like it is so bad it's been scrubbed from every server on the planet. Like we're playing basically Lost Ark: A Realm Reborn.
True. So basically, heard it here first out of Aiyulol's mouth. The instant gratification Andes, get the fuck out.
Yeah, well, you can just whip out your wallet, bro. Pay to win.
This is true.
It's so good. It's all connected.
I in a way though, I don't. The systems are not going to change. Like it's designed by a Korean company. Like the things that make Lost Ark grindy is like everything is baked into the game. You cannot take it out, right? So I don't mind that Lost Ark is basically it's not going to change because it will stay true to what it's designed to be. Like if they start, trying to please everyone, it's just gonna turn into a shitstorm. Like it's gonna be a shit game. If you like Lost Ark, play Lost Ark. If you don't like Lost Ark, if you don't like, go play Diablo or go play New World or whatever, right? Like nobody should be forced to play this game. And like when we played Dota, and every game you were like, people are just basically like, I hate this game, I don't know why I keep playing this game. It's like, don't play, right? I like
Right.
It's better I'd rather have a community that actually enjoys playing the game than people who like play the game but hate it. Like I don't understand.
Honestly, I think people who make their living sitting on Reddit complaining about games, I don't even think they play the games, because like we all play PoE here, right? And in that game, that subreddit is full of people who are like, oh, worst change ever. What are the developers doing? I could do a better job in my sleep. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna quit. Never spending another cent on this game, right? And they don't even play the game. Like you look at I've literally looked at people's profiles on Reddit who say these types of things, and they'll also have posts that are like, oh, I haven't played in like a year and a half, and then I'm always like, then why are you still here? Just leave.
Wait, you can make a living by complaining on Reddit? Where do I sign up, dude?
Yeah, just dude, you karma farm and then you sell to like astroturfing bots on Reddit, and they use your account to promote their products. It's actually pretty lucrative.
I have like 500 karma on Reddit.
That's not it, dude. You're talking like they're dealing in the tens of thousands here. They need reputable Reddit farm accounts.
Yo, how do you get karma if you just bitch all the time?
You go on our picks and post cats.
Oh, next level, the secret strats.
Yeah,
It's an old strat, but it checks out.
I have a question for you regarding like the start of Lost Ark, because I've played a lot of mobile games, and I've seen many a mobile game in my days where the users, like a week after launch, they'll be like, oh, why would I even bother starting this game? I'm behind everybody and I'll never catch up. And this is like literally not even 7 days after the game has come out. I know Lost Ark has a lot of time gates and like resource gates. Is there a concern, like, is the concern of I need to play on launch or I'll always be chasing people, is that a legitimate concern?
That's literally not a thing in this game. Like, everything in this game takes so long, and you basically spend inhuman amounts of time for like very minuscule upgrades. Like the dailies that I mentioned where you have to go there for like 30 days, at the end of it you get like 3 skill points, and that's not even enough for like 1 level of skill. But Lost Ark is about doing all these things to stack up all these little upgrades, and then like eventually you're like, oh man, you put in a lot of work into your character. Into your account, basically, because account level is a thing, and skill points and all these things that you spend a lot of time on, they unlock basically for all your characters. So you do them once, but after you do them, you feel good about it. Like if you see a guy who has 100% completion, you're like, oh man, that guy is hardcore. That is something to achieve. So if you look at this, I've made a whole YouTube video about this, but if you look at Lost Ark like a marathon, it doesn't matter if you start late, because if you start within a reasonable amount of time, let's say like 1 or 2 weeks after everyone else, you are well within the pack, because RNG is the great equalizer of this game. People are complaining about the 3-day head start. People who start like 2 weeks after you can still beat you if they have better RNG. I failed a 75% upgrade 3 times today. So it literally doesn't mean shit if you start earlier. It's obviously better, but you can still be screwed, right? And Lost Ark is a game where even if you get screwed by RNG, it's not like the end of the world. Your gear doesn't break or anything. It doesn't downgrade. It just means you try again tomorrow. And Lost Ark is a game where it wants you to come back tomorrow and the day after and the month after that. The longer you play, the more powerful you become. Like you can fail here and there, but in terms of a long time span, the trend is up. I think it's that kind of game where you want to play for a long time. And then so if you start within a month of everyone else, you'll be perfectly fine. And then if you start far enough behind where everyone is like really far ahead, that's when they start coming out with free boost tickets. Like Korea, if you make an account on Korea right now, you can jump straight to tier 3 content without doing tier 1 and 2. You can boost a character really fast at level 50. So they help you catch up. So everyone is always playing together. Like you're never having people who just started and you're like, oh, I gotta play through 100 hours of story just to play with my friends, right? So it's always paced well, so you're always within throwing distance of everyone else.
So what you're saying is Lost Ark is literally Genshin Impact.
Well, what did the Genshin Impact do?
No, I'm kidding.
Genshin Impact was a great game, by the way. Is Ayaka out yet?
Yeah. Question mark.
Is Ayaka?
I don't think so. I think soon.
Soon TM.
Any Genshin players can confirm. I think I have 2,000 Primo Gems I can go roll.
Dude, roll for Ayaka. Give me.
But
related and very important question. So you're talking a lot about like how you invest all this time into your characters and whether they be alts or like your main character. Can you redo the like cosmetics of your character, like your character creation, or if you like make a monstrosity, are you just stuck with that thing forever?
you have to pay. You have to buy a character change coupon from the cash shop. But so in the recent event that just came out, in the summer event for Korea, and the character change coupon is just another one of those things that they give away for events, or you can pay like whatever $10.
All right, I've changed my mind. Lost Ark pay to win.
Yep, pay to win. I remember in WoW, I spent so long making my character because WoW is also like that. You have to pay to change your name. You got to pay to change your server. You got to pay to change your like appearance. And that was when I was in high school or whatever. And it's like $10. I was like, dude, that's like a year's salary for me. So I was that kind of a player. But I don't think nowadays. I mean, every MMO has that. So
yeah, that's pretty standard. Every MMO has a cosmetic ticket of some sort that you have to pay for.
Yeah,
true.
That's what makes events worth playing, right? Because they give away all the cash. Like you're able to buy most cash shop items with like event currency. Like I just bought the subscription, like whatever the monthly subscription is. I bought it with the event tokens, so I didn't have to pay anything, and now I have the subscription active. In general, though, like I think it's pretty. Like I said, if you have time, you will never be behind. You can replicate money with time, whereas in a game like Genshin Impact, if you have time, it doesn't mean shit. Like you're still resin capped. Whales are still you can never earn more rolls by playing more. Up to, like you're capped in the amount of stuff you can earn, right? And you're capped in the amount of resources you can spend. But in Lost Ark, you can make more alts. You can learn to play the auction house. You can like do all these different things and come up with strategies to make gold and progress your account. So you just have to be good at the game. Like you have an opportunity to play on an even playing field. So I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't want to pay. It is if you want to change like your hairstyle every 2 days though. I think I don't know. That was a pretty good. We're probably gonna get flamed for saying Lost Ark isn't pay to win, but Lost Ark Waiting Room episode 1. How do you feel?
Good. Excited to play Lost Ark.
Yeah, pretty optimistic about it.
The real question is, once Lost Ark comes out, are we still gonna be called the Lost Ark Waiting Room?
We're always the waiting room.
What are we waiting for?
More content. More gold.
Of course.
More fat material from the cash shop.
The waiting never ends.
All right, and on that note, everyone can have fun waiting for the next episode of Lost Ark Waiting Room. We're going to be doing this bi-weekly if we can. We can, right? We'll be able to come up with something.
Yes, new videos whenever we can figure something out.
2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. You heard it here first. Lost Ark Waiting Room episode 2 will be in theaters near you in 2 weeks. So if you were looking for something to listen to on the way to work and you want to talk and you wanted to listen to three random people talk about Lost Ark, subscribe for more of the same or maybe even better content.
Well, let's not set unreasonable expectations.
True. Any last words for our one viewer?
Join the Lost Ark Waiting Room. Join the Lost Ark Waiting Room.
Yes. I'll see you everybody on Aiyulol's beta level 50 stream.
Wait, I'm doing that? Oh yeah, we are doing that.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
I'll just be lagging behind watching the story.
Alright, should I drop my signature catchphrase?
Go for it, dude.
Alright, thanks for tuning in. This has been IU, and until next time, bye you.